All right, welcome back again to Brown Neck Reviews, and I am that guy from Brown Neck Reviews. Today, I just wanted to give a quick update and what I did with my Tisas B9R Gen 2. All right, show that it's empty, nothing in there, nothing in the magazine. But I will be using a snap cap. This is not ammunition. This is I guess, a fake bullet in order to do the update on the trigger pull. All right. If you're dry firing 1911s, um, you want to make sure that you're using something like this to protect your firing pin. All right. Otherwise, you could damage it. And that's from what I've heard. You could damage the frame without using something like this to cushion that pin slamming forward into the frame. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's look at what I did with this so far. So I installed this Springfield Prodigy grip frame on here, okay, and also a magwell that I got cheap on eBay. You could look it up on eBay if you want to get one of those. But I did keep the Handle It Grips finger pads on there on each side of the frame because I like the way that it allows my index finger to index on that frame. Now this Prodigy grip has a lot nicer texture than the Tisas did. This actually makes the gun feel more expensive than it is. But the grip texture is not as aggressive as the Handle It Grips grip texture that I was using on the stock Tisas B9R grip. In order to do this, you're going to need to get, of course, the grip. You're going to need to get the Springfield Prodigy mag release, as well as the spring and the pin that goes into the mag release. You will also have to get the Springfield Prodigy mainspring housing in there. And you can use your Tisas B9R internals on this mainspring housing. And I also used the B9R mainspring pin that goes in there to hold the spring in place. You'll also have to get the mainspring housing pin here, retainer pin that holds it into the grip housing, or the Springfield grip. The trigger on here actually feels more stable now. Before with the stock TSAS one, it's like it would go up and down on there, but now if you look at this, there's no play in there on that grip, on that trigger. See, there's very little up and down, and if I pull that, it's nice. It's a nice straight pull back. All right. There is just a smidge of play, but it's not. To me, it's not noticeable on there. Everything basically bolts right up. You will have a little bit of a overhang on here, just like Engineer Army had showed on his video when he did the grip module installation. But that I can't even notice that when I'm shooting, unless I look really close at that little thing right there, because it doesn't exactly mate up with the TSAS frame to the grip module. So I don't know if you can see that right there. All right. You can use your original TSAS screws, the B9R screws, to hold it in place. All right. So you're not going to have to buy any of those, because I think the Springfield ones are like 17 bucks a piece or something like that. And also the front screw is also a Tisas B9R piece, the original piece that went on there. But overall, this grip feels a lot nicer than the stock Tisas grip that I had to put on there. The beaver tail actually fits in there pretty nice. I don't see any real play side to side on there. So it goes in there pretty good. And if there is, I don't notice it because I'm going to be pushing in on that anyway. All right. So that seems to be fine. So instead of getting the pin for the mainspring housing, I actually bought this grip module because it came with this pin, which is a wider pin, in order to accommodate the grip module on there. You can see that right there, that the pin actually comes out on both sides a little bit right there. And that's to hold the grip module in. But what I found with this was that when I was tuning the leaf to get the trigger pull down, I didn't have to put the pin back in, because this will actually, if you look in there, all right, this will actually hold the trigger in place, because in order to put this magwell on, you basically have to slide it on that way, all right? And then once it's slid on there, the only thing is that pin just needs to go on there to keep it in place, but it'll actually hold your mainspring housing in there once it's fully locked in. And to take the mainspring housing out, I just have to pull it out about halfway, and then the mainspring housing basically slides right off on there. So I think that was a pretty worthwhile upgrade, I guess, if you can call it an upgrade. I think it's just a modification. That's what I would call it, a modification. But this grip really feels really comfortable. So, and now I can't even tell really if it's a Prodigy or a B9R, but that, to me, it doesn't matter. This grip feels great. All right, so let's go to the trigger pull test. All right, so let's do the trigger pull test. See what how it pulls. All right, so that one is at about 2.5, in between 2.5, 2.5 and 2.6. Okay. Next. Same thing, about 2.5, 2.6 on there. All right. I don't know if you can see it through the glare. Okay, and the last pull. All right, same thing, about 2.5, 2.6. Same spot, all three pulls. All right, so it's pulling about 2.5 pounds on the trigger. All right, so that concludes my, I guess, 700, about 700 to 800 round update on the Tisas B9R. I mean, it's for the last, I guess, the last month, this thing has been great. I've never shot so many rounds through one gun in that amount of time. It's just because this thing is just so fun to shoot. It feels good, trigger pull and everything. Just the shooting experience is a lot different than my Glock clones that I usually use. Now, would I carry this thing if it was a little bit smaller? Maybe, because I don't like the open carry. I usually do a concealed carry. I don't like people noticing what I have on me and making some kind of plan to take it. So I usually conceal carry. But this is a great, I guess to me, a great range piece or for shooting and having other people try it out. But granted, these guns require more maintenance and upkeep than your standard Glock striker fired type of pistol. But with that maintenance and upkeep, I think you will get a better shooting experience with that. The gun just feels, you know, good when you shoot it, and it's smooth, and it has this format. This 1911 format has a history over 100 years. So with that, that's all I have for you today. And God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the troops. Amen.